Hi, Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and here's another interview in my series of interviews with subscribers. Enjoy!
Okay, good morning, Fidel.
Good
And
morning.
it's nice to see you. Of course, we've chatted before online, but this is the first time we've really ever met face to face. I like this. Well, no, the retreat that I had in March, I think we
It
did.
was briefly, yes.
Yeah, good. So this is a little bit more detailed. So just to get started, can you give me your name, first and last, because I can pronounce your first name, but I'll probably butcher your last name, and tell me where you're from.
My name is Fidel Leon, L-E-O-N. I am from Mexico City, but I live in Querétaro City right now. It's about 3 hours north of Mexico City.
Okay, so that's great. So how long have you been quilting and or sewing?
Okay, quilting for about 2 years.
Oh, you're new.
Yeah, well, it's been since 2016, but because I moved from Pennsylvania to Mexico, I spent almost 2 years without quilting because of the moving.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, well, I've only been quilting. Well, I guess now I've been quilting almost 4 years. Time flies when
Okay.
you're having fun, eh?
Yes.
But, well, that's great. So how did you get started?
Okay, it was by accident.
Yeah.
It was, if you believe in destiny, it was destiny.
Okay.
I was living in Pennsylvania, and I was driving. I saw a garage sale.
Right.
So I stopped, and I saw they have a lot of stuff. So I was browsing, and I stopped in front of a little sewing machine. I think it was a Singer sewing machine. So the guy told me, "Oh, you know what? I have a lot of quilting stuff that I want to sell." And he's like, "Are you quilter?" He's like, "No, I didn't even know what quilting was."
Yeah.
Didn't know anything. So he's like, "Well, show me." So it happened that his wife died like a year ago from when I was in there, and she was an incredible quilter. So this guy remarried, and the new wife didn't want any of that in the house. So he says, "Take everything, and I'll give you a very good price." And I was like, "But what I do with this? I mean, I don't know anything about it." So he gave me a sewing machine, a Yanomi MC 9600, really nice machine, tons of fabric, boxes and boxes of fabric, patterns, rulers, cutters, everything you imagine from a quilter.
Right.
But I'm talking boxes and boxes and boxes. So he gave me a really good price, and I was like, well, my mother, she's a seamstress.
Right.
So I said, you know what? I'm gonna give her whatever she can, she wanna take, and the rest I might sell it or I might see what I do. So I made a deal with the guy. He sold me everything. I loaded twice the car back and forth. In my house, I had a family room in the first level of the house. Never used that for like many, many years. So I dumped everything in there in the first floor. And I stood there like for like 2 months. Didn't know what to do with anything of that. Then I started looking in YouTube, what is quilting? And I was like, this is interesting. Maybe I might, I checked the machine it worked fine. I cleaned it and everything. So I was like, I'm gonna try. So I tried making I know how you start following a tutorial on YouTube. It was all wonky, all really mismatched.
Right.
I like, you know what? This is too difficult for me. It's like it makes no sense. Like, why would we do this? So about 2 weeks later, it's like, you know what? This is a challenge. I like challenges. So I'm gonna go try it again. I made 5 Ohio stars until the last one. It was more or less, straight and matching all the corners and everything. And it's like, this is interesting. So I started doing because I was discovering this lady had so many patterns, templates, so much stuff, an incredible amount of stuff.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do something just to see if I can make it. And I made one quilt that I had no idea how I put it together. I had no idea because I didn't know what quarter inch was. I didn't know anything about the sandwich, the batting, all the technical names and everything. Didn't know anything. But let me show you the one I made the very, very first. See the feather star? The red
Yes.
and that was my very, very first quilt.
Wow. Wow. For your
Ask me
first
how
one,
I
that's
did it.
pretty good.
Yeah, ask me how I did it. I have no idea how I put it together, but I did. So I was like, you know what? I like this. So I start organizing all the fabric, all the everything, and I gave away like bags and bags of scraps to local quilting churches that in my area.
Right.
Because I didn't know what to do with so much stuff. I gave tons and tons of things away. So I was like, okay, now let's go something big. Then I made a quilt trip around the world.
Yeah.
It's right there. Let me show it.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah.
That one. In the
Beautiful.
Middle.
Beautiful.
That was the very, very first. So how I quilted with the machine, the Yanomi that I got. But it was so difficult to feed it's a queen size.
Yeah.
To feed it through the machine. Then I bought the batting that is polyester, very fluffy.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about battings or anything. So I feed it through there. I said, you know what, this is too difficult. I don't think I'm gonna do it. It's not worth it. Then when I saw how much they charge for quilting, it's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, maybe no. So I was like, maybe I sell everything. And then following year, I found an used handy quilter machine with the pro stitcher and everything.
Yeah.
I think I start quilting again. And then so far I have made around 27 quilts.
Wow. In 2 years? Wow, that's quite a load.
Yes. And then I started doing, and I had to stop because of the moving.
Right.
When I moved here in Mexico, I didn't have a room to make my to put everything. So everything was in boxes. So I stopped for 2 years.
Okay. But you're back at it.
Last week, like a week ago, I got finally built this room.
Yeah, and you'll have, in a few minutes, I'm going to have you give us a little show of it because I'm dying to see it. Because I can just tell from what's in the background right now, I would die for what you've got right there.
Yes, it's really nice.
Actually, why don't you show us now since we're talking about it? So,
well, this is the area where I store my fabrics. There is a really nice cabinet there with drawers and doors.
Yeah. Lots of storage space. Do you have lights underneath there?
No, I'm in the process. I'm gonna install some.
Yeah.
So in this side, I have my machines, because I learn everything through YouTube. So I connect my computer to the TV.
Yep.
Those are my machines.
Yeah. Now you've got that looks like a Janome Memory Craft.
The 15,000.
It is the 15,000, is it?
Yeah. So I have an industrial sewing machine and a serger machine.
Yeah.
Over there.
Very nice.
Then in this side, I have my quilting machine. It's an Amara.
That's nice. And you said you've got the computer component on that?
Oh, I haven't. I had to learn how to do it by hand.
Right.
Free motion. And so the quilt on the right, I finished it not too long ago. That's the one I quilt for me. Because I have given away all of them. I just kept that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my quilting area. That is my ironing station.
Oh yeah, nice.
There is a little closet over there. You can see it, but I have all my threads and notions that I'm still organizing.
Yeah.
And this is my table that is custom made.
That's nice. The table is really nice.
I have my rulers here.
Yeah. It's so nicely organized and everything, and so bright too. I notice in their ceiling you've got a lot of lighting.
I have a lot of lights.
Which is really nice. Oh, I'm envious. I'm very envious.
So when I have to do a big quilt, I have that table in that corner. It's folding.
Yeah.
So I can add it to this side of the table, so I can lay down a king size if I have to.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So
Well
but
worth the wait.
Organizing my all the notions and everything they still have in the boxes.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That is a wonderful space.
Yes, it's
Very, very jealous. Now you're inspiring me to clean out my craft room, which is where I'm sitting right now, but you can't see. And I've always thought about, well, not always, but since I got into quilting too, I would like to gut this room and make it into what you've got, kind of a thing. And I just haven't got around to it yet because I'm still a little attached to my crafting supplies because a lot of those would have to go, but I'm getting more and more less attached to those, and I would like the space. So that's great. Thanks for showing us that.
And I have a nice view of the mountains and a nice building. So I'm in the third floor.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of natural light coming in there too, which is great. I mean, ideal setup, really an ideal setup. So that takes me on then to, did anyone in your family influence you in this? It doesn't sound like it actually, but.
No, my mom she's been a seamstress for all her life.
Right.
I knew how to use a machine. I always had a small machine at home because, if something you had to fix, maybe a hem or something, I could do that, but just that.
Right.
No more than that. So I knew how to use a machine. But my mother, she was the one that she inspired me.
To inspire you for it. Yes. That's great. So what is your favorite creation? I think I already know the question to that. I think it's the one sitting on your long arm, isn't it? That you quilted yourself?
Actually, it's the feather star that I have on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Because seriously, I didn't have any knowledge of what I was doing.
Right.
I just went for it, and
it turned out. Yeah, I know. That's usually what my favorite ones are too. The ones where I struggled the most with, but the end result was worth it. And, and because only you know how much effort and time and how frustrated you were at different points of it. And I think that's what makes it grow on you. Yes. The ones that you put together that are pretty easy, sure, they're beautiful and everything, but it's those ones that you really had to work at that, I think are why they're my favorite. So what type of quilter would you describe yourself as? Are you traditional? Are you modern? Something in between?
I guess something in between.
Okay.
Yeah. The only quilting I haven't done is applique.
Oh, okay.
I haven't tried that. That's the only thing I think is very difficult.
Actually, it's not, but I'm the same as you. I didn't try it for the longest time. I said, no, looks too fiddly for me. And now I'm leaning a little bit more into the applique. The more I've done, the better I'm getting at it and the less intimidated I am by it. So especially if you're doing raw edge is pretty easy. Although I'm thinking of trying the needle turn at some point in time. But it's not a fast process, that's for sure. So
I'm like you. It's like I always pinch my fingers.
Yeah. That's my problem too. But I do it on the machine because hand sewing that doesn't work well with me. So you've already shown us your crafting area, so I'll skip over that question. So what is your favorite tool or technique? Something you can't live without.
I would say it's the handy quilter.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm dying to have one.
I want to buy the Pro Stitcher, the robotics.
Yes.
But I think there is more art when you guide it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, that's the thing about, and I think you mentioned this too when you said about the cost. If you send it out to have somebody quilt it. Well, I have a thing against that because then it's not my quilt.
Exactly.
If someone else did this for me, and plus the cost is very, very pricey on it. And I mean, you've already spent a lot of money on fabric and everything else. So no, and that's why I'm trying to teach myself or give myself practice to actually do it on my domestic machine for now. But yes, I would like a long arm as well. I just have to have the space for it.
Walter tells me we have the space for it. Well, the other option is the money. Because it's a big investment. And
You can buy a car.
yeah. And I would want the computerized control on that because I'm all about machines. So I know some people might think that it's cheating if you're using that, but I don't consider that. I figure if we've got the technology, why not use it? You know, but I would also want to do it by hand as well, because so someday down the road, I know I will get one, but not right yet. Okay, so that takes me to, if you had all the money in the world, is there a piece of equipment you would invest in?
Well, it's not equipment per se, but it's more like a quilting store in Mexico, because we don't have a good quilting stuff in Mexico.
So where are you getting all your fabrics? Online?
From the United States.
Oh, okay.
I brought some with me, but I had to buy from there, because what we have in here, it's very limited and it's way more expensive.
Is quilting not a big thing in Mexico?
It's not a big thing.
No, geez, that's funny. I would have thought it might have been, because, you know, I know that there's a lot of beautiful art that comes out of Mexico in all different forms. So that's interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately here, we don't have a good quality cotton fabric. We don't have it. All the good fabric, it comes from the United States.
Yeah. So if you were, let's just say, for example, you were to open up a store, would you have a clientele? Do you think? Would you have customers?
Not as much. Maybe online to serve, you know, more states, but no. In Mexico City, I've been to 2 stores. Yeah, they are good size, but they're all the way to Mexico City, and everything is more expensive.
Yeah, of course.
Everything is it's already expensive, the quilting stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
In here, add like 30% or more sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, because
that's a lot.
All the shipping, the custom fees, and all that makes everything very expensive.
Yeah, and well, it's bad in Canada too if we have to get it from outside of the country, because of the difference in our dollar with the Americans and everything like that too, and shipping and all of that. So yeah, but we do have lots of quilting stores, so we're okay with that. Okay, so lost my spot here. Oh, so have you ever belonged to a guild or an online group? Nope. Nothing. Any desire to?
In the United States, I tried, but when I went there, they were mostly ladies.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some guilds out there that, you know, open their arms to men coming in and don't mind, but I had the same experience as you. Guild was not friendly towards males. It was like I had invaded their territory and they weren't giving me a chance. So I'm no longer part of that guild. So actually I belong to one, though, if you're interested, that's online. Facebook is called the Canadian Male Quilters. And although we call it the Canadian Male Quilters, we have people from the States and other places too.
Yeah, if it's virtual, it could be from anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, but that's a possibility out there for you.
But I learned everything I know through YouTube.
Yep.
You know, so many wonderful people in there, including you, that you take your time, your effort, and everything to make videos. That's
thank you.
Everything.
Well, I'm glad that I'm doing something that's helping you out, because you're right. I learn everything from YouTube as well, but I do have a quilting store in my area that before COVID, we did have classes and I was taking the classes. But what I liked was, it isn't so much, I know some people join guilds because they want to learn. And from what I'm hearing from people, that's not what a lot of guilds do. They don't really teach. What they do is they're kind of a social group, but they have guest speakers come in and talk about things. So I really didn't learn a lot in the 2 years I was in the guild. There was some interesting speakers, so that was good. I went more or less because I want to be amongst other people who shared a common interest. And I guess because I wasn't female, I didn't really get into that. But the online one that I belong to with the male, it is all men, no girls allowed in this club. And we just get together every now and then and have a sew day on Zoom, just like what you and I are doing now. And I find I'm more productive when I'm sewing with a group of people that way. And we talk, but we, sometimes there's big gaps of silence because everybody's working on things. We share what we're working on. We'll ask advice, share common knowledge in that. But yeah, it's a totally different environment than the guild that I belonged to before that. And so, yeah. And I do think they have some retreats when in the good times come back again, when we can do that, which I'm really interested in going to. Okay, so do you have a favorite online store then, since you buy most of your stuff online? Do you have a favorite online store for your supplies and materials?
But for fabric, right now, I'm buying from Soya.
Oh, yes.
It's a Las Vegas base store.
Yep.
When they have very cheap prices for bundles of fabric, that's the one must to buy. So when I buy from there, after the shipping and the customs, I pay what I would pay over there.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I buy from them. And notions and everything like that is right now sometimes through Amazon.
Yep. Yeah. I watch Soya, but I've never bought anything from them because, well, two reasons. One, the exchange on the dollar. And unless they had something that I could not get in a Canadian store, that would be the only way that I would consider buying something from them, because the savings I would make on what they're selling it for are pretty much absorbed in the shipping and in the exchange rate. So that's why I don't bother. But I like to watch them because I think they're quite humorous to start with. And, you get a chance to see things that you may never have seen before. So I like to watch them for that. Okay, so do you have a favorite expert or source for information that you go to on a regular basis?
For quilting?
Yeah.
It would be YouTube. So many people,
Yeah.
So many people there over there that I'm subscribed to their channels because they have always something good to offer. And this is where I get ideas also. Sometimes also there is a quilting group in Facebook.
Yeah.
And quilting for men, also another group. So that's where I go and I find, wow, that looks interesting, or like tricks, tips. That's what I learn on this stuff. Yeah,
I do the same thing. I think my favorite probably is Missouri Star Quilt Company. In fact, I'm working on a quilt of theirs right now, and I've had some problems with it. But I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter, actually, because I was surprised that I would have these problems with it. But that's one of the ones I go to. But like you, I have a whole list of all kinds and I'm always looking for new ones too, looking for the inspiration more than anything from them. Okay, so do you have any challenges or goals for the future in terms of projects you might like to do?
Yes, I would like to do applique.
Oh, yes.
Harry Potter related.
Oh, okay. So what are you thinking? Like for applique Harry Potter, would you do figures or scenes, or?
I will do like Howard's, the castle maybe.
Right.
And like landscape or something like that. That's what I want to do right now.
Now, would you be planning to make your own design, or is there something available? I've never looked into this, but
no, I think I'm make my own.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever seen an applique design for anything from Harry Potter in that. So that would be very ambitious, I think. But now that's definitely moving into fiber art when you start getting into that kind of thing. Exactly, So there you go. So you're not just in between, you may be going beyond as well.
Well, when you go to the quilting expos, the shows, when you see those pieces of art that they have in there, it's like, I don't think I can ever make something like that. So
yeah, I know. I would like to try. I've done a couple of little tiny small pieces that are more abstract. Well, they're basically a mess, but I call them abstract.
It's art.
And it's art kind of a thing. But I kind of would like to get into some of that as well. But there's something holding me back. I don't know what it is. I think it's that, just like you're saying with applique, you kind of think, can I really do this or not? And I guess you just have to plunge in and
when
say the heck with it.
Applique, I don't think it's that difficult, but I want to make the one that you do by hand, that is
the needle. Yeah.
Yes.
There are some tools. I've been debating whether to buy them. They've been around for a while. They're called the Applet tools or something. And
Yes.
they're actually two little steel poles or whatever for it. And they look like they work very well. They're not cheap. They run it in Canada about $60 for the pair of them in Canadian dollars. But they look, I've seen several videos. They look pretty useful for that kind of thing. So I'm toying with it.
Yeah.
We'll see. So many things, so little time, you know, as they say. So, so overall then, we're talking about quilting as an art form, and it is an art form. And I always have to correct people who are not quilters about this, that what we do is art. They think of it, oh, that blanket. No, it's not a blanket. There's a difference, you know. So how would you describe yourself as an artist overall? Hard question, I know.
Yeah. Well,
Like, for example, would you consider yourself experimental or more of a, you know, I'm going to stick to the tried and the true, or innovative, or?
I always try everything. You know, I before this, I used to do photography.
Right.
I do some drawing. I do some painting. But I haven't mastered any.
I know the feeling. Yeah.
So I don't know. I like to try everything.
So yeah, I would say then you're kind of like a experimental
Yes,
kind
like
of
you.
artist. Yeah, play with everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you say though, you haven't mastered any of these things. Well, in my way of thinking, nobody masters them. I mean, and I think this is where people get really hung up on the idea that if you're not hanging in a museum, if your piece is not hanging in a museum, or if someone's not buying it, if you're not selling it and making money from it, you are not a true artist. And I say no. There's a lot of crap out there that people will buy and call art. I think it's all art. It's just it's in the eyes of the beholder,
Perception.
I guess. Yeah, for it. And I think a true artist is somebody who does experiment, who looks at it and goes, well, you know, I'm in it for the process more than the final product.
Yes.
And when I first got into quilting, I was all about the final product because I had this vision that I was going to win a ribbon in a show. I'm over that now.
That's something I never came to my mind. Like I don't have the desire to compete in any place.
I tend to be a bit on the competitive side, but that was holding me back because then I'd go, well, it's not going to be perfect. Well, then somebody said, well, done is better than perfect.
Yes.
And
yes.
I get that now.
Yes.
You know, so I don't get so uptight. I go, well, okay, so I fudged that or whatever. And I just enjoy doing the process because once I'm finished the quilt, I need to give them away because they're just sitting here. I never look at them again, you know.
Yeah, me too. That's why when I make one, I ask the people, use it. That's, you know, it's not just keep it like away, you know, put it in the closet. Use it, and if it, you know, works out, I'll make another one.
Right. Of course, you have to make sure the people you give them to have an appreciation too, because I've heard the horror stories where somebody worked for months on a really beautiful quilt, gave it as a gift to somebody. 6 months later, visit them and saw it was on the floor with a dog on it.
Oh, it's in my sale.
Yeah. So yeah, no, make sure you give it to people who appreciate it.
The people I had given all my quilts, they really appreciate it.
Which is good. Actually, I've only given one quilt away so far, and they approached me for it, and they were redoing their bedroom, so it was like going to be an accessory, which was fine. They're a relative. They're young. They're my nephew and his wife, kind of a thing. And so yeah, it's fine. They've got it, and I'm glad. And that sort of broke the ice. Now I'm trying to give them away to other people, but people in my family don't seem to really want one. So I don't know. They just don't. It's not their cup of tea. So I have to find people that it is. So for my last question then, for anybody getting started in quilting, do you have any advice for them?
Well, the advice is that save money. Have extra money. It's expensive.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It is very expensive. When I did photography, I thought photography was expensive. quilting is way more expensive.
Yep. Well, any hobby is, but quilting, yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't want to say how much money I've invested in this already, and not done. Any other advice you can give anybody starting out?
Well, it's a art form. It's something that for me, specifically for me, it helped me to concentrate in something. It's like a therapy.
Right.
When you're going to quilting, you are like, you have to be perfect. So I'll go in there and then the time flies because I'm just, in the moment.
Yep. Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like a therapy. It helps to concentrate on something, forget about the world, forget about problems and everything. You just concentrate when you're doing, and it's a good therapy.
Yeah. And I think that they said that there's been a run during COVID of people buying sewing machines and doing this. And I think that's why, people needed something else to divert their attention from, the everyday disaster we were going through. So yeah, that was great. So do you have any final words to end off with or anything? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. It doesn't have to be,
it's just, like for people, for men especially, that don't be afraid to get in quilting because it's mostly a woman stuff, but we can quilt her.
Yeah, we can. And actually, that's a really good advice because I think more and more men are getting into this as well. But yeah, it's not something that's only for one sex. People can do this.
And also to the ladies, don't discriminate us because we like to quilt. So
yes,
we can
that's true. Yeah. So okay, well, that's great. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. I'm going to just shut off the recording in a second, but so stay on the line. But I just want to say this is a great interview because we get not only a man's perspective on this craft, but we also get the fact that you're in Mexico. And, see, quilting is international. So that's great. So thank you so much. And just stay on the line. And I'm going to stop the recording now.